Hi. So last week we spoke about the power of speech and how when negative speech and gossip is used, I actually focused on the fact that says that three people are killed through this process. The speaker, who is talking negatively about somebody else, the listener who is hearing that gossip, and the person who is being spoken about. And it's interesting because most years, the Torah portion of last week, which is the Torah portion of Tazria, is connected to this week's portion, which is Metzora. But because it's a leap year, they're read separately. Hey. And hi, Elizabeth and Vincia. And so it's interesting because now with this leap year and basically having everything a month later, because we had 2 months of the month of Adar, we're reading Mitzora the week before we begin Passover. And it's actually referred to this Shabbat as Shabbat Hagadol, the big Shabbat. We read a whole portion of the Haggadah in preparation for Passover. And it's on this week that we're reading the Torah portion of Metzora. And what's really fascinating is that if you look at the word Metzora, which is referring to the consequence of speaking gossip and negative speech about somebody else, which is the skin condition of leprosy, and that person is referred to as a Metzora, that word Metzora is actually the word meitzar, which is the concept of constrictedness, and then the letter ayin. And it's also, of course, the root of Mitzraim, which is Egypt. So we're reading about this skin condition the week before Passover begins, and it's actually the exact same root as Egypt and what we're talking about. But it's interesting because the Torah portion begins saying that the person afflicted with the skin disease can only basically be cured and be considered clean during the day. And the commentaries explain that this can't be determined at night. So we have this idea of day versus night, of constrictedness, a sense of constriction versus freedom, right? Like Egypt and freedom. And also how the word is meitzar, constrictedness, and the letter ayin, which is the eye, which is how we see things, how we choose to see them, and then this idea that we can really only see in the light, in the day. So there's a statement right at the beginning of the Torah in general, and it's a lesson for life, that is, Vayehi erev, vayehi boker, yom echad. It was evening, and it was day, and it was one day. This reminder that nobody is escaping the dark part of the day, and that, if anything, a day in Judaism begins at night. It begins in the dark. You know, Shabbos is coming in tonight. When does it start? Nightfall, sundown, and then our day continues until the next evening. So this idea that there's always going to be a dark part of it and there's always going to be the light, and that both have to be used properly, and both have lessons, and both have meaning, and both have things that can be brought out of them, things that should be focused on. And even the term for erev, for evening, is from erbuvia, which is chaos and confusion. When things are dark, we just don't see things clearly, versus the day, boker, morning, which is from bikort, which is clarification. And this idea that when we are in a constricted state of reality, when things are not expansive, when they're not how they should be, that is our opportunity to seek growth, to want growth, to notice that limitation. So often we don't push ourselves because we don't even realize that we are constricted, that we can do more, that we can be more, that we're capable of more. And sometimes it takes feeling that crunch, you know, feeling that things hurt, feeling that we're contained in order to work that much harder. So this idea that there's a consequence when we speak negatively about others, when we, you know, gossip, when we hurt others, and that consequence results in something that separates us from the rest of the people and keeps us in the state of constrictedness that then forces us to to better ourselves and to want out and to want more and to want that day and to want that clarification and to want things to then be revealed where we can experience freedom. So right before going into Passover, we need to see that constrictedness, recognize it, shine the light on it, realize what it is so that it can be healed. And then we go from that into Passover next week, where, it's really all about speaking and owning our voice and stating the reality we want to be having and connecting in that way, because there's no point in speech if we're not speaking to another. So we go from really being isolated and alone, and that healing allows us to then connect to others. So with that, I hope you have a great Shabbos on this big Shabbat Hagadol, our big great Shabbos that precedes Passover. And next week will be, hopefully I'll do the video earlier, because I do not see myself being able to get that out on Friday right before we head into Passover, but it should be a truly healing Shabbos. All that negativity should be addressed. We should learn and grow from the constraints that we have, and we should use that to motivate us to seek true expansiveness in a healthy and proper and connective way. So good Shabbos.